Welcome to Imagine Peace, the podcast that invites you on a transformative journey toward a world filled with harmony and understanding. Together, let's ignite the flame of peace within ourselves and radiate it outward so we can have a future where unity prevails. This is Imagine Peace, where dreams become reality. Join us as we explore the power of compassion, the beauty of diversity, and the potential for positive change. Well, hi, I'm Marbeth Dunn with 10 Million for World Peace and Imagine Peace with my dear friend, Terry Angel, our partner in crime. And today we have a very interesting guest. Well, all our guests are interesting, but today we have Steve Gardiner. He is a professional performing musician with Oxford University degree. He translates music into Braille. We have to talk about that. He's the co-founder of the Peace Mantra Movement, a member of the Prayers for World Healing Steering Group, and he lives on the south coast of England. So without any further ado, welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Look, great to be here.
Thank you for being with us.
So let's talk a little bit about, before we do anything, I have to find out, how do you translate music into Braille?
In a short answer, with considerable difficulty.
Sure.
But Louis Braille, who invented Braille, actually invented two things at the same time: the words, the literature, Braille literature. He devised a code for that, and around about the same time, he devised a music code where it's using the same 6 dots, but they just mean different things. Once I was in hospital having a biopsy, and to distract my attention, the person doing the biopsy got me to talk about Braille music, which I thought was really funny, but it was just to sort of take my mind off the procedure. Yeah, I mean, just ask what you'd ever like, because otherwise I shall go on and on. So
do you take like the written notes and translate them into Braille? Because I can't. Well, I guess blind people, they're not deaf, so they can hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
Then with the Braille, okay, I think I'm getting what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm almost seeing it.
Very interesting, very fascinating, really.
It is, and I got into it by, I don't believe accidents or chance. It just happened to be like that. Many years ago, I was reading set books onto tape for a friend of mine who was a blind postgraduate doing an English degree, and he asked me if I had a job to go to after I'd finished my postgrad course. I said no, I hadn't even thought about it. And he worked for the Royal National Institute for the Blind, which is now called the Royal National Institute for Blind People. He worked for them in his holiday time, and he overheard that the head of music was going to retire, and that might mean there would be a job lower down, because they're bound to a point from within, so they might create a space at the bottom of the pile. And so he taught me how to recognize the Braille alphabet, and I wrote to them, and they gave me an interview and gave me the job, there and then. It was
Wow.
almost, and ever since, I've been I've had 1 or 2 times away, or 1 or 2, just a couple of occasions where I thought, well, that's going to be it now. And it always seems to come back. Last year I retired, my boss retired, and I thought, well, I'll go the same time as he does. It's just 2 of us working together. And it was only when I heard this lovely but very unknown piano sonata by Haydn on Radio 3 that I said to myself, I bet you that's not in Braille. And a little gong went inside me. So, well, why don't I do it as a voluntary basis now? I've had 40 years experience. It's a shame not to go on with it. So I'm doing it now completely voluntary. and I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Oh, good. Well, I
So,
think we need to talk about some of the peace initiatives that you're involved in. Can you tell us about how the peace mantra movement evolved?
yes, well, we used to live in West Cornwall, which is down at the very southwest tip of Britain, very close to Land's End. We used to live down there, and we hosted a meditation group. There are 7 of us, for quite a few years when we were living down there. We used to meet on a Friday night, and one night my partner suggested that we might like to think about creating a mantra. And so we thought, okay. So each one of us went into a little private corner and just thought about it and just reflected upon it for 20 minutes. And then we came back into the circle, and we found that every single one of us, all 7 of us, wanted it to be based on peace. And so by the end of the evening, we'd actually come up with the peace mantra as it stands, apart from the final word, peace, which is also the first word, peace. The final word we actually added to it the following year. But that's really how the mantra came into being.
Would you tell our audience what it is?
Right. It's simply this: peace in my heart, peace in this place, peace in our land and throughout the world, peace. And that's all it is. And we rested on it. We used it in our own meetings. We didn't tell anybody else. We kept it for about 9 months, the gestation period, as it turned out. And then somebody who came into the group, who was a friend of someone who's already in the group, we used to have it was quite an open meeting, but there were 7 of us regulars. She suggested that we might like to make it sort of, offer it to the world, to make it known to whoever wishes to find it. And so that's what we did. And we created some postcards, which I've got up here. This is just one of 4, which says has the mantra on it, and a tree, and it's a different tree for each card.
Beautiful.
But we used to just give them out for free, or leave them in if we've been on a course, we would keep one in the bedroom, or some people we know who just put them on the railway seats of the train. And so we decided to issue those cards, but at the same time we constructed a website, and then a little bit later on, I decided, well, let's reach out to a wider audience, which is why I went onto Facebook. So that's basically it.
Very cool.
You're also involved in the prayers for world healing, I believe it is.
That's right.
I lost my notes. So can you tell us how that evolved?
Well, yes, I belong to various sort of little groups, one of which is a Sufi group, because that Sufism and Christianity are both my main paths, as it were. They're sort of intertwined together with a bit of Zen Buddhism as well. The healing order which I'm in, which it offers healing to those who wish to receive it. They wanted to, because things were getting very fraught with a lot of conflict in the world. This is about 8 or 9 years ago. The leader of the healing order suggested we might like to think of offering prayers for not just individual people, but this time to offer prayers to all those who are suffering from conflict in the world, and also for the leaders of those countries, everybody involved. So basically the prayers for world healing has sort of evolved since. There've been several of us who've been steering it. At the moment, there are 5 of us. And we have a ritual, an online ritual, about every 2 months, which lasts for about 45 minutes. And they will contain some sort of prayers drawn from the whole range of faiths, or none, readings, and then the preparation to offer healing. So we sort of go into that sort of quieter space, and then we offer healing normally to about 10 focuses, 10, and it's not just for those countries or areas of the world who are experiencing conflict. We've also done it retrospectively. For instance, we had a couple of rituals concerned with the transatlantic slave trade and Black Lives Matter. We've also had plenty of rituals concerned with the ecology, of healing the Earth's ecology, which is so damaged. And so we go literally where the spirit takes us. So we have a lot of fun as well.
It was lovely. We got to experience the last ritual that you did online, and I thought it was really lovely.
Oh, it was lovely to see you there. Yes, we're having actually a different thing entirely next month in December. We're actually having a peace vigil. So for most of the 45 minutes, we'll be sitting together in silence. But for those who want to focus, we do suggest a focus, and therefore just 4 focuses throughout the 45 minutes. And we just want to see how that goes. I have been involved in a peace vigil before, which was actually more in the flesh rather than online. And that was about 4 hours, and we just held space. 1 or 2 of us would in turns hold the space, and people were welcome to come in and go quietly as they, as suited them. And it was absolutely lovely. I've never ever forgotten that. So that was initiated by one of our colleagues in the Peace Mantra movement.
So do you have, something in particular that you do, like a personal peace practice? I know you have several, that you, paths that you study, but is there some particular thing that it's your main squeeze?
Yeah, it would be very much the peace mantra. I quite often use that as a form of meditation, because what the beauty of it is it's starting from breathing in peace, breathing in healing light into the heart, and then imagining that it is radiating out into the community and further out into the land and further still into the entire world. That's one thing I do. Another thing, I'm very much into sound healing, and there is a chant which I improvise. Basically, it's Ya Shalom, Ya Salam. So it's using both the Hebrew and the Arabic name for peace. And in the end, it doesn't matter which is which, because
No, it doesn't.
No, exactly. One of the great joys of this journey I'm on is the fact that, well, I just love all traditions, all faiths, and also for those who choose not to have a faith, because I feel they have so much wisdom to offer us as well, and I just love it. So I love the diversity of unity, or the unity of diversity. I quite often talk about those on the Facebook page. Has that answered your question? I'm not sure if it has.
Well, it has, yes.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
sorry.
I said it sounds beautiful.
Oh, right. Yeah, one of the beauties of this whole business, I think both of the peace mantra and also particularly prayers for world healing, is that it encourages people to be creative, and that no one says, oh, this is the right way to do it, or that's the wrong way. Not at all. We sort of encourage each other just to contemplate something and then just see where that takes us. And it's just wonderful how it can happen. One thing I should say about the offering of healing, to do with the prayers of world healing, is that we found it's very important that to recognize the fact that yes, there is conflict in the world, and yes, there is conflict within each one of us, and so we see them very much as linked. Before we sort of, in a sense, dare to offer healing, we recognize that we are still of need of healing ourselves. We find that's very, very important. So that's in a way, it's offering more in a humility rather than thinking, oh, we're doing this for the world. You know, it's not that. It's something which is a continuum. It's probably what I'm trying to say, between the healing which is needed in our own hearts, in our own beings, for past wounds or maybe present wounds which might not have healed, and as well as for the healing needed in the community, healing needed in the nation, in the land, and healing needed for the planet. We see those as all as inextricably linked.
Yeah, and I think we're a work in progress. So we're always uncovering things inside of ourselves and releasing what we don't need, and learning more about what we do need. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I find, I'm sure other paths have the same, but under Sufism, there is a lot of work which goes on just between two people. It's the guide and the person who wants to be guided. So with my guide, that my guide will suggest practices for any particular issue or wound or something which has come up during our monthly consultation together, and then she'll suggest doing this practice or that practice, and or that combination of practices. And by repeating those, that's just one way of actually being. It is, in a sense, it's like what Gandhi says, it's be the change you want to see in the world. So one almost becomes forgiveness, for instance, or one almost becomes strength or faith or trust. It's a long process, and I'm sure there's no end to it, but I find it's a very beautiful thing. Most of the work is inner work is done literally behind closed doors.
Yeah, away from distractions.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been so fascinating. I know that I would love to continue this maybe another time, but our time is running short. And can you tell our audience how they can find you, Steve, and how they can perhaps join?
Oh, yes. Yeah, right. Well, if they just have a look for the Peace Mantra movement on Facebook, then they'll automatically find the page. I'm just going to read out the website address.
Well, we'll put it underneath.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's peacefoundation.org.uk. So that's the website's really almost like an archive of suggestions, and these are just suggestions for a peace building or maintaining peace. And it's not just meditations, important though they are. They're also suggested practical steps So we believe those go hand in hand. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's basically it. And if you know anybody who needs a braille to be done, then I don't think I can give you an address anymore. I used to be able to, but if you know anybody, I know there's a lot of people who do it in the United States. So
Wonderful. That's really great. Thank you, Steve.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
And lovely being with you this afternoon for me. And so it's lovely to meet again.
It's so great to hear your work, and we really appreciate what you're doing for peace in the world. Thank you.
Yes.
And I would just lastly would love to say how inspiring 10 Million for World Peace is. So thank you so much for setting that up. That's brilliant. Thank you.
You.